Hello, greetings, and welcome to another episode of the Young Nations podcast through deep waters. Today we're in another setting. As you know, we like to keep it fresh.
Every single
we
time.
don't do two episodes in one place. It's not allowed.
We
It's
change
haram.
we change locations every single time. Don't ask us about a new location, an old location. This is where we're always at. Different places, different faces. You know how we do.
Today we are in the basement of an individual that we hold very dear to our hearts. Somebody that has paved the way and pioneered a new movement in our family.
Definitely in our family, we can say that. Like, what you've done is a little bit unprecedented, and it might not seem so crazy to people who are listening from different backgrounds, but actually, it's mad, right? So we've introduced you. We talked about you
What's your name?
on a couple episodes before. So introduce yourself. What's your name?
First of all, guys, I'm really speechless. I just had to say it out loud. Like, damn, I feel flattered. My name's Hussain Alokaily. We're gonna refer to that.
But no, you're gonna be referred to as the Beta Hussein.
No.
This podcast.
He's
really?
Hussein.
Okay.
We're gonna call you Hussein Kashif. Hussein Kashif.
You're gonna call me Mr. Hussein, and you can call him Hussein, and that's how it's gonna work.
By yourself.
That works. You know, we can roll with that.
Listen,
Look, he's so
listen,
polite.
because he knows his place.
No, he's so
Listen,
polite.
because he knows his place.
He's so polite.
No, of course. I'll be Hussein Kashif, and you can just be Hussein, and
Perfect.
that's okay.
There you go.
Regardless, Hussein, where are we right now?
We're in Richmond Hill, Canada.
Richmond Hill, Canada.
Shout out Richmond Hill.
My
2 days,
home.
Not really.
2 days away from our flight, we decided that we have to come and see our cousins, because we love our family.
For sure. Introduce yourself, Hussein. Give the viewer a synopsis of who you are as a person. Couple sentences.
I'm gonna look at the camera for this because why not? I am a 21-year-old aspiring filmmaker.
Okay.
I love movies. That's really the one of the many.
Understatement of the century.
That's actually so true.
How many times have you seen Spider-Man?
I've seen
It's been out for a week.
3 times.
3 times, and it's been out for a week.
That's crazy.
Bro, it's good. What can I say?
It's a fire movie, I can't lie.
I know, right?
We're not doing spoilers in this podcast, don't worry. If you
No.
haven't seen it, go see it.
None. I will not do that. No,
But Gwen dies.
The wrong movie. Wrong movie.
damn.
Michael B. Jordan wins his fight.
Oh my god. But like I said, like movies honestly carried me through like a really dark period of my time and really made me realize what person I want to be. Made me want to become a better person. And but other than that, outside of movies, I also love going to the gym, working out. It's more about the mental like release of like just feeling good rather than looking good. You know.
By the way, I started working out because of him.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait, really?
You know this. When we went to Canada, like 7 years ago?
Yeah, back when we were
In
still living in Sharjah.
2014. Yeah, we were still living in Sharjah back then. And, like I was what? How old was I? I was 13 at the time, and I was just getting into like
You were 14.
14. I was always active and athletic, but I was never like working out. I never ran. I never did weights, nothing. And I came here, and him and his brother, who's gonna be on the podcast in the next week, they like were on some like crazy workout routines, and they had this thing called P90X, which you may or may not know, but they introduced me to it. And like I felt like I had some catching up to do, because when I first came to Canada, I saw that these guys were like, they put on some like good muscle, like relevant to the fact that he was also 14 years old. He had like a good base, a good muscle. And then after that, I decided, because you and your brother were like this, I'm gonna start working out. I want to start building muscle because I wanted to look like you guys.
Damn.
Meanwhile, I was out here downing 2 bottles of Coke a day, all type of candies. I finished your house's candy when I was here.
Bro, we had like what they call 2 liters of Coke. You know, the ones you buy for Costco.
Yeah.
For parties. For family gatherings. This man's just downing them in these bottles. And I remember that vividly. I was like, yo, that's great. This guy's made such a far cry about it. Like now he's like really in the right direction, really healthy, all that stuff. Like I remember when I saw his. I know you guys talked about the whole weight loss transformation, so I'll make it really short. But I remember like back then when I saw your Snapchat, I'm like, oh my god, he actually did it. I'm like, damn. So I'm really proud of you as well.
I appreciate that.
And
Thank
proud of you as well, for starting.
Yeah. So, like, big
But
inspiration.
who wins in an arm wrestle right now?
Oh, I'll lose.
He doesn't
Why are you
have-
so humble, bro? Why are you so humble?
Bro.
I'm trying to talk shit.
My wrist game sucks, but what can I say? No, like legit, like a month and a half ago, my Halloween costume was like a douchey alter ego version of myself, and I was in like this gathering and thing, and this one random person I never met was like, "Yo, let's have an arm wrestle," and I just did it because I'm having fun. I'm like, I'm gonna lose this shit, and I did it, and I lost. I'm like, it's all the
Fair
risk,
enough.
man.
It's all
Fair
good,
enough.
it's all
But
good.
regardless, I wanna go right into this because this is something that I'm like I really admire you for this, and I want to hear what you have to say about it.
Talk to us.
You're from Iraq.
Before we
And-
go all the way there with that, I just like I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off at all. I would just want to know before we get into how difficult it was or cultural context of what you're doing. How are you interested in film to begin with? Because for those of you who don't know, Hussein takes film studies at Sheridan College, right? He's finally got that college right. I always just say Seneca. He finally got the college right. Talk to us about when that was born, how it was born, and what it is that made you interested in it.
Well, like, contrary to popular belief, I actually was always into movies, like a lot of people. Like, I think one of my first memories, even ever, as far as I can remember, was, like, watching Toy Story on VHS. Like, I was 5 years old, and I loved that movie, and I've watched that movie to death. Like, obviously, I love renting out movies and everything, but I never thought I could do this. In fact, I think you guys probably know this. As a kid, I was more interested in video games, and I thought I wanted to become a video game developer until I realized I suck at math. So that was not gonna happen, basically. But basically around the time high school hit, like just for some reason, like with the Marvel movie started like really blowing up, and I was watching them, but then I remember watching Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm like, wait, this movie's dope, and I was in the movie theater. I'm like, why don't I just watch more movies? I had nothing better to really do. So as I was going on, I was getting more interested in reading about how they were making movies and how they made them, and like watching YouTubers like Chris Stuckman, like, who are movie critics and everything, and going to movie early screenings. So like basically around that time, I was really starting to like love movies, and it wasn't until like, let's just say like I was really doing bad in school. Like I did terrible in like math and sciences, and it was a really bad year. But that was also the same year I took a drama class, and for some reason I was like, you know what, maybe I should give this film thing a try. It started off as acting, and then when I really realized I want to make movies, that kind of led me to where I am today, where I'm just directing movies and telling stories. So that, I know that went like 5 different directions and stuff, but
okay.
like that's kind of like how my film interest really started off.
Okay, really quick, I want to follow up. So why directing and not acting? So what made you divert your interest?
Well, that honestly, I still think about it to this day, because it's really started off as acting. I took this drama class the same year I was flunking science and math, and I was enjoying the hell out of drama and hating everything else. So it kind of became obvious in my brain, like, yo, I want to do this. And it's not that I was discouraged. Like, I'm gonna be straight up. Family members really did not approve of me wanting to become an actor, especially because at time, and still unfortunately now, not a lot of Arab actors are leading movies or getting meaningful roles. It's improving
In the Western, like not the Arab film sphere.
Yeah. No, like
that.
obviously it's improving. Like Rami Malek, Egyptian actor, won Best Actor for Bohemian Rhapsody. But I'm just saying, in 2016, yeah, no, forget it. There was nothing, right? But I was really serious about it. But what happened was, I remember I always also had an interest in making movies. I just never really got stuff. You know a thing where you just keep dreaming about it but not actually taking action. That was kind of me throughout all of high school. And believe it or not, it was not until like I was applying for schools and I realized I needed to have backups that weren't theater. For example, I did film. And then in the criteria of all these portfolios are like, make a short film. That was the only thing that forced me to make my first movie. And it's on YouTube, and it's rough. It was incredibly rough. It was shot of my older brother, Hassan.
Shout out Hassan.
Shout out to him. A great
Next
actor.
week's guest, yeah.
No, but like, it's like my roughest work, yeah. But like, I had a lot of fun making it. And when I made it, it's not like I was like, oh, like, I'm never doing this again. I'm like, oh, shit, like, what's the next movie I can make? And I showed my parents and my friends, and like, I don't know, they're trying to be nice to me. They're all like, this guy actually has potential. Because as rough as it was, it did kind of show my early foundation in filmmaking. And then that kind of just made me be like, you know what? I want to tell stories, and if I do want to act in the future, I can always take classes and stuff, but I would rather have like the practical experience, because unfortunately where I was from home, as much as I love home, not many people around here really care about movies as much as I did. So I really thought it would be beneficial for me to go to a film school where I can use equipment hands-on, and most of all, make connections and make a network of people who love movies like me, who are willing to help out and willing to help improve each other in terms of our film work.
But okay, so walk me through. So we all had that couple of months periods where we were applying to schools, we were getting our acceptances, our rejections for some. I never got rejected by any university. I'm just saying.
Really?
Actually, I got a conditional acceptance to one university that I never got to follow through on. I was one IB point away, but I never got rejected
Which
from
uni
any
was that?
university.
Can
That
we-
doesn't matter. It was the University of Toronto. Anyways, in that, like, so that's a stressful period in itself. Like, I applied for urban planning, urban design, like just things around that field when I was applying for university. And while that's like traditionally accepted and respected field, even I was stressed. Like, oh, am I gonna get into this uni? This is a stressful time. What am I gonna do with the rest of my life, etc., etc. Being someone who isn't like, you weren't applying for an accepted or respected field in the traditional sense. How did that add to your stress when you were applying? Like, did it make it even tougher for you, or did it like cause you to have a tunnel vision that was like, you know what, everyone is hating on me and everyone wants me to be a doctor, a lawyer, whatever it may be. I'm gonna do this and I really want to do it, and you're just driving me to do it even more.
Well, yeah, you said it best. It was honestly a really stressful year because, I mean, I'm just not gonna like dive into specifics unless we just call for it, but I did not have the best time in high school. Like, not at all. It was just really like a hard time for me. But it was not until the last year, which, by the way, I took an extra year in high school to boost my grades. That's how really bad I was doing in high school. I was not that type of student to like just flunk my grades on purpose. I was really trying. I just couldn't really get through, if you know what I mean. But that last year, I was like, I'm not gonna have a bad future. I need to get out of high school. I need to have a good future. I need all this to make sense, if you know what I mean. The big thing was like, my parents were never really forcing me to be a doctor, engineer because they were until they realized I was really not good at it. Let's be real. I was not good at it, right? But the stress really came from was not just the fact that, oh, like, you know, I'm applying to less respected fields. First of all, my
Now,
mom.
when we say let's respect it, let's just get it out there. We're not saying about shout out to all the filmmakers, shout out to all the artists, everybody who's in an art field. We're just saying in terms of the culture that we grew up in, right? There is a stigma around that.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? So that's what we mean by that, just to clarify. Sorry,
Of course. No, first of all, I remember I applied to, this astounds people to this day, across like 5 or 6 schools, 13 programs that
Ooh.
I paid for, like, a lot of it out of pocket, believe it or not. Because like I was like, yo, I need to wager my bets, you know, like, you know, I may not get into one school, but I may get into, you know, the other ones, right? So I had 13, but even my mom's like, and especially because the weird thing is my university average or something wasn't really the highest, so I was trying to improve it as it went. So I got a lot of offers after the midterms and stuff. But because I didn't get much in like the beginning of like second semester, my mom was getting paranoid, and she was like, apply to more programs. I'm like, what? Like, apply like waste man programs essentially. I'm like, I told my mom bluntly.
Waste man program.
That's crazy.
That's all I gotta say. And I told my mom, like, I love you, but no, because as terrified I was, trust me, I had fierce competition for some of these programs. Like, I'll name drop some schools. York University. I auditioned for that theater program, which I got into, by the way. That was one of the best honors of my life. But like, I met a girl that day, and she was like, "Oh, I came from Boston." I'm like, Boston, like, you know, NYU is an option. I'm like, damn. And then like,
I'm gonna fall. Hold on.
oh my god,
Keep
no.
going, keep going, keep
dude.
going.
And then like another school like Ryerson, which is considered like the top dog for film, like thousands of applicants and like only 90 spots. So I knew I was under fierce competition, but I had to take a deep breath and tell myself for 2 things. First of all, I had fundamental belief I can get into them and some of these programs. But second of all, damn, I forgot what I was about to say. I hate when that
I
happens.
had fundamental belief that you're gonna get into these
I
programs.
had fundamental belief, and I just knew that like I had to take this chance because I would hate myself if I did not take this chance.
And you know what's crazy?
Mm-hmm.
You don't even, like, in saying this, I can tell you don't even realize how big that is.
Mm-hmm.
For somebody to just take the chance because they don't think they're gonna get another. I know people that have passed up crazy opportunities. And there were opportunities that had extreme potential to be successful. Why did they pass them up? I'm scared I don't make it. But
The
instead,
biggest example is me. Like, we don't even have to lie about that. Remember when I So if you don't know about IB is the school system that people do, right? Like it's, I think Canadians know about IB. I think.
Yeah,
right?
we have my high school is actually an IB school. Wow, big shocker why I did not do good in high school. Anyways, you know.
So there's another. So we did the British system. So we had the option to choose between IB and A levels, and IB was known to be harder. And I think I just said, you know, screw this. I don't want to do the hard program. I'm gonna go and do A levels. Is place my safe bet, and I still regret that to this day because I didn't really push or challenge myself as much as I would have liked.
Whereas on the other hand, I chose IB.
Mm.
I am nowhere near as academically inclined as my brother over here.
I'm not that academically. I wasn't, especially in the later stages of
Your
school.
GCSEs were no. You just didn't study, bro.
No,
You just
I
stopped
was going
studying.
through last year school. Last couple years, I was going through a lot. I changed schools. Remember,
True.
like it was a
True,
bad
true.
environment.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, sorry, Hussein. You're saying, like, I think I very much appreciate the idea that when you see the vision for something and you believe in yourself and nobody else believes in you, but you still have that, like, yo, I know I got this. You know, sometimes it, like, in every person's life, they have to have one or two moments like that where they just say, screw what everybody else has to say. I'm doing this myself because I know I could do it. And that's when you achieve some things that are considered to be very great achievements, you know, like, and like what could be said as like not unthinkable, but like you beat the odds essentially. That's the mentality that you need to develop, right? So I commend you for having that for sure.
Yeah, no, like again, odds. Like I mentioned, like there was such fierce competition, and about it, forget the whole post-secondary thing. The reason why there's like a stigma towards why you're doing this career and stuff like that, it's because, let's be honest, statistically speaking, like it is hard to get into the film world. Actors have, I've heard stories from many of the successful actors who made it. By the way, that's a key word, made it. Who said that they do like hundreds of auditions, probably facing like really awful producers and everything who would like take calls during auditions and stuff like that. I'm talking about acting, like they had to do that. And then for filmmakers, it's a little bit. It's not that it's harder, but like it's all about getting your work out there. So and that's the thing. That's the thing with film is that it's not like a linear pathway. Like, oh, you do this and do that. Many of direct.
That's beautiful, by the way.
It's crazy. No, like for the big example, the John Wick movies. I think a lot of the viewers probably have seen these movies because like it's Keanu Reeves and they're great action movies. The director of the movie is a stuntman. He was actually Keanu Reeves' stuntman as far back as The Matrix. And to think a stuntman who was just doing stunt work is able to go pick up a camera and redefine the action genre, it's like, damn, that means really anybody can go into the film world. But that's what I mean. It's a non-linear pathway, which opens a lot more doubt. And that's why a lot of people view it as, you're not going to get a career, you're going to end up in the streets.
Don't you think that we're seeing a lot more of that in recent times? It's becoming less and less, and while I still stress it's important to get a university degree, it's becoming less and less important to actually own a university degree.
You know why that is? Because now so many people are going to university, the degrees have become quite generic. And because of that, companies are getting smarter now. They're not like many companies are not screening for a college degree.
Exactly.
You know?
Bro, it's because you also realize there are so many smart people that have made the decision not to waste their time on a generic university degree. You know? And they've taken the non-linear path, as you say. And that's, we need people like that to pave the way for others to take these non-linear paths, right? That's why, like I said at the start of the podcast, you're a pioneer in a sense, you know?
Especially because you also go to, like, you're not a university student, you go to college. College is very hands-on, applied more so than university, regardless of what your, like, major is in college, right? That says something, because for me, I've always seen your university degrees to be a lot more theoretical, but college degrees, they really, like, give you something to work with, hands-on experience, and they prepare you for the real world, right? So it's also a nice approach that you took. It fits well with your goals.
I 100% agree with that, because like a big thing that made my film program like nice for me was that as soon as it began, like it was like, here's the camera, go have fun, go use it. And I was like, whoa, really? Because I've heard, you know, there's also this problem with film schools. There's a big stereotype that it's a ripoff, because like there's a lot of them that are just like theory, you know, which isn't bad, but like as a filmmaker myself, I'm telling you straight up, most of my learning comes when I'm on set making a movie, and most of all, hear me out, failing and making mistakes, which may to the viewer be like, well, why is that a big thing? Oh, it is a big thing, because that's the only time you can actually look in front of your own eyes, your flaws as a filmmaker, and be like, all right, I'm not going to do this again next time. How do I improve?
And by the way, progress is best made when you love what you do. Like, hear me out. Like, if I'm trying to get better at linear algebra, I don't even know if that's it. Is linear algebra a thing? If I'm trying to get better at linear algebra, I'm not gonna
didn't answer you because I can't remember if that's a thing or not.
I'm not gonna sit for 4 hours doing linear algebra, because I don't care. But if I'm trying to get better at boxing, something I'm passionate about, I'm gonna sit in the gym and hit the bag for 4 hours until for example, if a coach tells me, oh, the way you throw your left hook is wrong, you're dropping your elbow too much, I'm gonna sit in the gym for 4 hours until my elbow is up when I throw the left hook. Same way for you. Like, you'll notice where you went wrong, and you're not gonna be like, oh shit, I have to go fix this. You're gonna think, okay, now I know how I'm gonna make the next one better. And that's the beauty of passion, because if you don't have that passion, you're gonna feel burdened every time you make a mistake and every time you fail, and you're just gonna feel like that's more and more obstacles to get in your way. Whereas in reality, a mistake that you've realized and a mistake that you've pointed out or has been pointed out for you is nothing but a solution waiting for you to find.
Exactly, man. Like, like every movie I make, I see it as growth. And even YouTube, I make YouTube videos as a side, guys. Self-plug. I'm sorry.
We'll put his YouTube channel.
Zain's YouTube channel in the link in the description. You're gonna see it. You're gonna urge you subscribe, all that. Like, go and check everything. Relating to your YouTube channel, I seen your, like, I think college had to do a lot with you, had to play a big role in your progress, right? I seen that progress in the production of your films. Your films get better by each film. That's awesome. Like, I just see the last one that you released, the one that you did in all this big up, you're still terrible.
Yeah.
Have to keep him level.
All this, like, the latest one that you made, the one that you had to stay up 48 hours to make and stuff.
True story.
That one was crazy. Like, I really, really enjoyed watching that short movie. It was very, very enticing. It gripped me, and directed by Hussain. Like, go watch that. I will link in the description. Check his
By
YouTube
the way,
channel.
I'm yet to receive my offer or invitation to be an actor in one of his.
Same. Okay, what's that about? Tell me. What's
What's
that about?
I don't know.
Am I not good looking? Is it because my beard doesn't connect?
Um,
Is it because I have a belly? I don't have a six pack like you. Because
Is it because my accent isn't Canadian?
bro. I don't offer roles. You guys got audition.
Ooh.
Just gotta say.
We should have made you audition for this podcast then.
Should have made you audition for this
Fuck
podcast.
me. No. But seriously, now you guys said that. I mean,
No, man. Don't worry about it.
It's
We're just
okay.
gonna
No,
be like-
we know our role. Like, we're good improvisers, so we can podcast. But I don't know about acting. We have to try and see.
I'm a brilliant actor.
You think so?
Josh, you know I'm a brilliant actor. Don't even try. I did one of Josh's movies.
Yeah.
And
Because he does
just
film
say,
as well, like a little.
let's just say, if Arabs can get Oscars, I would have one by now.
Oscar.
oh
Oscar.
shit.
Oscar.
Damn. No, yeah, you act just like Hassan, bro. Hassan always like, yo, man, look at me. I'm a good actor. I'm
Because
young
game
Leo.
recognizes game, and when you're good at something and you know you're good at something, you can say you're good at something.
Tell him.
That is
why.
true. That is
That's
true.
why.
Anyways, circle back, okay? I want you to talk about, we're going to get into the cultural aspect of it, but before that, just tell us quickly about the 48-hour film experience and what that was. Explain to the audience and give us like a description of what it was like.
Oh man, this is still in my mind. The film's called Inhale XL. It's on my Instagram and YouTube. If you, like I said, you can link it in the description. But I just want to tell you where you can watch it and everything.
We're plugging everything.
Damn, I'm honored. No, okay. So what happened was like in late October, like TIFF for audiences to Toronto International Film Festival has a theater in downtown called the Bell Lightbox, and they just do events all year round, like showing repertory films and everything. One of the events hosted by the Next Wave Committee, which is for filmmakers, up and coming filmmakers like me. They're like, we're doing a 48-hour filmmaking contest where you have to write, direct, shoot, literally do an entire movie in 48 hours. And
They don't care about sleep time. They don't care about any of that.
no. So for me, I saw a listing. I'm like, whatever. I just put my friends group chat. I'm like, that sounds cool. And then my friends were like, let's actually do it. I'm like, you know what? I wasn't up to much anyways this semester. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. Screw all my schoolwork. Screw all my commitments. I'm just gonna do this. And I was feeling anxiety because I'm usually a filmmaker who wants to have a plan before I go in. But this type of contest, it really required you to do the entire thing in 48 hours. But I was like I said, I'm like, shoot my best shot. I'd be an idiot not to do this. That's what my rationale was going into this.
I love that. I love that.
I know.
You just throw yourself in a challenge.
Damn. But when I made this movie, like, it was honestly one of the best. Despite how sleep deprived I was, by the way, I only got 2 hours of sleep by the end. It was one of the best, most fulfilling weekends of my entire life, which proved without a doubt that I was meant for this because like how else can you explain me doing this for 40 hours, barely sleeping, and still coming out and being like, I love this and I want to make more movies. Like, it was just me, all our friends just collaborating, learning from each other, having fun, and just making this movie. And like, it was such an honor. And then the best part, the main reason I did this contest because we screened it in theaters in late November, the day it premiered.
Oh.
And it was one of the, to think 3 years ago, by the way, that's when I made my first movie, and it was really rough and everything. That 3 years later, I would have a movie playing in a theater for my first time, and I didn't win the contest, by the way. That doesn't matter. It's just the fact that my work was on the big screen. Like, I won the. This sends me chills when I say this, but like, my mom, my dad, my little brother came out to Toronto, which is, can't just say a huge deal, because like they don't watch much movies, especially my dad. And they especially don't really want to go to downtown.
I can't picture your dad watching a movie.
I know, to do that. But just the fact they're like, nah, we're showing up for this. This is a huge moment and everything. And all my dad said afterwards were like, I love the movie. You did really good and everything. That's all I need to hear because I love my dad and all, but we don't bond much about movies, understandably.
Yeah.
But just him saying that, I was like, man, I'm gonna make it bigger next time, you know? That's all I gotta say.
And the film is nice. The film is really nice. Like, it's very well produced, well shot. The execution is beautiful. And even though you didn't win, like you said, you got your play on a big theater. And you advanced your career at the end. Like, it must have taught you so many new things that you didn't know before, right? And now, because you know them, now you're able to like apply them to your next work. You're able to take what you learned and move forward with it, like any other experience.
No, 100%. Like, as much as I love the experience, I already have like 10 things in my mind. I'm like, I could have done better next time. And that's what I love because, you know, it doesn't mean the movie's bad. It just means, all right, now I made this work and I'm super proud of it. But now I know where next time I'm going to be better.
For sure. Okay, so let's segue now into the part of the discussion that I think is also really important in terms of talking about how. So we know how you got interested in film. We talked a little bit about that. We touched on that, how it was born kind of in high school and your experiences with it, some of the films that you've made. But when you first decided that you want to take this film thing serious, right? And you wanted to go and pursue it to the fullest. And it obviously, like, you were in high school at the time and you were still trying to figure yourself out, but you had to go and discuss it with family and relatives, parents, brothers, extended family, right? Like, how was that experience for you? How did their perception of your dreams start? And how did they evolve? And how did that affect their relationships with you?
That's a great question, by the way. I just want to say out there, that's a really good question. So like
I try.
So the thing is, like, I think my parents always knew I was like different from everybody else. Like, I wasn't really traditional in that sense. I was kind of that way in school in general. And like, in fact, as far back as 2013, I think the earliest sign that I was interested in this was I made YouTube videos. Horrible YouTube videos, mind you. But in 2013, I started making YouTube videos that are not on the YouTube platform anymore because they're so embarrassing that I only show the people I really trust. But like, I got my start obviously from that. You gotta start from the bottom, like the Drake song. Yeah, but like, I remember around the time of high school, they were just kind of like, my dad was always like, his one condition was, get a degree, do this, just live a good life because that's what he wanted, and I want to honor that. And he wanted me to be, he denies it, but no, he said he wanted me to become an engineer because my little brother Hussain studied civil engineering in McMaster, and me being like 14, 15 years old, I just go wherever my parents say, right? That's when I did horrible in math and sciences, like I said, and it was honestly a really soul-crushing period because everything I was made to believe that I was supposed to go this pathway was destroyed. Like, how could I do this when I'm studying my language ass off, right? And going to a tutor and still getting barely squeaking past the 50. And that's when I realized, wait, I don't enjoy this. I don't. And I'm enjoying this theater thing way more because I feel more alive, feel more creative, I feel more all that. But for months, I procrastinated to tell my parents. I was just like, I don't know when to tell them this. Like, are they going to take me seriously? Are they going to laugh it off or not believe me? But I remember it was one day we were going. I think we are going to Guelph University or something. Like that's older brother was like visiting and everything, and I just rolled along because why not? I realized more than ever that day I do not like this pathway, and I was like, what do I gotta lose? I told my mom. Oh my god, it was a terrible reaction. Like they were like,
Talk about it.
dude, they were like, why filmmaking? Why acting? This, and that. They didn't take it seriously because they often just see it as a phase. Like, oh, this is a phase. I'll pass by and everything. But I went through months of soul crushing no's and no's and no's. But I just kept going on. Like, I'm like, no, this is what I want to do. I'm starting to like watching movies more. Why don't I be in the film world? And eventually, my parents eventually just looked at her and realized, yeah, this guy's serious. He's not gonna stop. We might as well get on his side and everything. But it was still a lot of convincing. Like
in these situations, it's like you really gotta show them that you're about it for them to actually be on board, And I feel like you did that pretty well.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where else. I don't know where else I would go otherwise. So I'm like, and
I
then
think also wait before you continue. Let's just say like. When he says these things for his parents and stuff, that's not his parents' fault. That's not auntie and uncle's fault. It's
Love
the
them.
culture that we grew up in, right?
Mm-hmm.
The stigmas that are associated with certain things in our culture that they didn't know that, like, or they didn't fully take in and consider in a deep sense that you can actually pursue your passion in life because the culture never afforded anybody around them that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it might have taken them time to convince, but I don't think you can say it's their fault.
Oh no. But when I say this,
Am I right? When
I love mom, dad. If you're watching this, I love you, and you've raised me well, and you always did what you thought was right, and I never blame you or anything because you're 100% right. Like, my parents immigrated from Iraq in 1997, 3 years before I was born, 1 year before my older brother, but they come from the cultural norms where like. I guarantee you, if I was born in Iraq, would I have been a filmmaker? Probably not. I mean, I'm not saying no, but
You'd be an engineer or a doctor.
probably. I'm just saying. Like the bets are like 9 times out of 10. I would not have done this because it's not traditional to do that down there and everything. And I realized that. But but also I realized, as like a first generation, first generations have a chance to lead the future. In fact, that's what my parents wanted. That's why they took a huge sacrifice, mind you, and even though they knew the writing was wall, like living in Iraq and everything, like moved out because they thought Canada be a better future, and essentially, so just the fact my parents did that, I have immense respect for that. But obviously, you're carrying along like cultural norms and everything that made it hard at first to believe to go outside the norm. Like, really, a filmmaker? Why that a big thing? When in their mind they're like, no one's ever done that or something.
Nah, beautifully put. It's, and essentially you're a product of your environment at the end of the day. So when your environment produces you to think in a certain way, it's not to say that you can't stop thinking like that, but it will take you a couple of, it's a period of time. You have to go through some experiences for you to be able to shift your perspective, especially as an adult, right? And would you say they've done that?
Like shifting
Their perspective on your profession?
Oh, 100.
Shifting, getting behind you now. How would you describe
Do you feel
that?
supported at this point?
Oh, 100%. Today, yes, 1,000%.
Do you feel like...
How did you get there? Sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but I just want to ask how you got there.
Well, obviously, once they realized that, I want to do this, they were still being passive aggressive in the sense that, what school do you want to go to? What's your game plan? What's this and what's that? And of course, at first, I blanked that question because, as many people do when they start thinking of a dream, they just dream about it. They don't actually take action. But then that's when I realized, all right, time for you to do research. First of all, a lot of people told me, why don't you go to a school called York University? York University is really famous for acting and all that. And then also, not just that, of course, me being interested in film, like reading industry articles about who gets cast in movies and the whole industry process, and watching YouTubers and like filmmakers and watching documentaries, all that stuff, I started to realize, of course, it's about making it work, it's about doing this and doing that to get your stuff out there.
It's about drive.
Yeah,
It's about power.
we stay humble. It's about no, but like that. So I remember the first time they actually kind of took me seriously was when I said, "All right, listen, Mom, my game plan is this. I want to get into York University for theater. I'm gonna do this to get to this, to get to that, get there, and then that's finally where like, okay, we still may not be fully 100% behind this, but he actually has a plan. He actually knows what he wants to do. He's done his research. Maybe we can actually get behind him." And it was still tough. Like, I remember my theater, the reason why theater was so important to me because it led me to where I am today. So I remember when I applied for theater, because that's what I thought I wanted at the time, my parents would drive me to auditions, and they denied us, but they were like, we don't believe in you. While they're driving me to my theater auditions. I'm like, geez, thanks, parents. I'm so gonna crush this audition. But like, again, like, I was like, no, I have to prove this no matter what. So even though I did not even go to theater in the end, the fact that I got accepted into York University in 2 years' time when I made this plan, like, was one of the best days of my entire life, because it was like I actually did the impossible. I got into this school, and even though I did not choose to go into it, it's just the fact that I did it, and then they saw it, and they're like, I remember the day I sent them shown that letter. They're like, he actually did it, and I was like, oh my god, like it was a crazy moment.
And the thing is with parents is that, like, especially in school when you're auditioning and all that, they don't have a gauge on if you're doing well. Like, you're not gonna get like a 97% on acting, you know?
No.
Like, you're either good or you're bad, right? And so they have no way of telling until you actually get in. So maybe that's why, like, when you finally got into York, they were like, oh wow, like, okay, he's good, you know? Which leads me to I have two questions for you. This is a two-part. Do you believe you're gonna make it?
In like film?
Yeah.
Yes.
Unequivocally.
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you believe that your parents, or not your parents, do you believe that people around you truly believe you're gonna make it?
My current support circle, absolutely. And look, I 1000% make sure that my circle is not yes men or like people who are completely down. I believe in that quote, you're the average of the closest people you spend time with. And the way I gauge this is that because for example, when I made the 40-hour film, it was literally with some of my closest friends, and there are people who will obviously support me, but there are people who will tell me straight up if what I'm saying is bogus. They're like, I say idea, they're like, nah. And I listen to them, like, yeah, you know, and we're bouncing ideas off of everything, and like, just the fact they're willing to like be there in my journey and help me out and like talk me through things and everything, and like, and most of all, when they say that I'm gonna make it, I don't sense that they're faking it or they're there because this exactly, you know how some people might go. Yeah. They're there because they actually like see that I'm driven to make better work and make grander, more ambitious things, which really makes people around you like respond, because you know it's like healthy competition. You're like, all right, what is this guy doing that I can borrow and implement to my own work, if you know what I mean.
Here's another question. Do you think you're special?
I would like to say no. Because I feel like saying that means I'm like the chosen one or something.
No, not like the chosen one, but like, do you think you're like cut from a different cloth, if that makes sense?
Do you have something to offer that nobody else has to offer?
It's tough.
I don't want to put you under pressure, but I just want to try to tap into your mindset.
You're just a loser?
No, I'm not a loser, bro.
No, I'm just kidding.
I believe that like in many ways I am different. Let's just say that. That like and not I'm not because I don't like putting myself, like I don't try like put artificial ego in my head like something like, oh, I'm special, I'm the chosen one. No, I just believe that I'm different, and that's not bad. That's just my pathway. Like everybody else in my high school, for example, they weren't that people weren't nice to me or they were trying to bully me. Just that, you know, they were different, you know, and they went their own pathway. And I'm pretty sure people, if they're listening to who are from high school, no ill will. You guys are gonna do successful. You guys are gonna do everything that. It's just that for me, what they were doing never responded with me, and I realized that I want to be a filmmaker. And the fact of the matter is, not many people want have it in them to be a director. And I'm not trying to be mean, but like I remember my first year of school, they made everybody take the directing course before they let you venture off and like take your own courses. And I knew of a lot of people who were like, I'm gonna be a director, and they made their first directing film, and they're like, never again. I'm gonna stick to producing. I'm gonna stick to sound or editing, all that stuff. The people who really stay with directing are the people who actually care, because it's from what I hear, and I've already sensed this, it consumes you. For example, you're the least experienced person, believe it or not, as a director on a set, because camera people, lighting people, sound people, they move on to the next project. You as a director, especially let's say you're making a Marvel movie, that's probably the easy way I can say this, could be spending up to 2-3 years of your entire life thinking nothing but the movie, because you're writing it, you're like planning the whole thing before the shoot. if you're shooting a Marvel movie, you could be shooting for months on end and doing heavy post production and everything. And that's even if the film turns out good. Because let's face it, that's why I hate like trashing on filmmakers. I mean, because everybody puts their best effort in, but sometimes in the end, it may not work out. And that's what I mean by directing. Like, you genuinely have to love this, because if you're putting this much time into one project that may or may not work, you better best be damned that you love what you're doing, because not a lot of people probably have it in them to spend that much time, maybe by the end potentially getting soul crushed, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna circle back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked your response when I asked you if you think you're special. You said no.
I didn't understand that question. I'm waiting to hear your explanation for that.
I knew he was gonna say no, and I feel like I just wanted to use that moment to just touch on, like, you have huge ambitions, right? And you believe you're gonna make it. I believe you're gonna make it too, to be honest.
Number 3, count me with you.
Shut up. Joking. No, yeah.
I'm trying to be supportive.
Point is, you're clearly aiming to be extraordinary, but you don't think that you're special, and that just goes to show that you don't have to be different. Like, you don't have to be a superior being. You don't have to be special to be extraordinary. You just have to know what you love what you do, and do it until you just can't do it anymore.
And offer a new perspective. Because who could, like, you're going to, ultimately, because your experiences shaped you a certain way, you're going to give something specific to the table. And who could be you but you? You know, like, who's going to be you better than you?
Exactly. Like,
right?
You know, like, a lot of people, like, I hear sometimes from comments, when, you know, people trying to be smart with me, they're like, oh, man, you're the next Steven Spielberg. You're the next Christopher Nolan. And look, Christopher Nolan is my all-time favorite filmmaker. I don't want to be the next Christopher Nolan. I want to be the next me. Because I'm telling you, you know who the next Christopher Nolan is? Not someone making Christopher Nolan movies. That's all I gotta say. Only Christopher Nolan can make the movies he makes, which to me as a filmmaker means I have to make Hussain Alokaily movies. I have to make movies that, like, are truly, no matter what, uniquely my vision, because that's how people are going to take notice of you.
And so when we end every podcast, we have...
But it's not at the end.
Are we not at the end?
No, I still have some questions.
My apologies.
It's okay. It's okay. No. I just had some questions. So I want to step away from filmmaking in its entirety, just because I want to ask you a perspective about something that I think we talked about in episode 3 with Isabella. Shout out Isabella. You and your gun sign.
Good episode.
Oh, yeah. Isabella,
Hussein's
Hussein's
seen all of
watching.
our
Hussein's
episodes
seen your
too.
episode. But yeah, so Isabella talked about, like, the cultural, kind of the struggle of being in a Western country and growing up in a Western country, but your origin is from somewhere else. We have talked extensively about how, even though we're here now, we very much identify with our country of origin. If you see my Iraq jersey,
Yeah.
you know, like, that I'm wearing, I'm very, like, trying to show that and support. How have you, because you're different from us in that you were born and raised in Canada. That's why this country is all you know for home. How have you maneuvered that relationship between your country of origin and your country of residence?
Do you feel connected to Iraq?
Well, it's a great question when you said that. The thing is, I have never stepped foot in Iraq. I've been to Jordan, I've been to Dubai, but I've never stepped foot.
Fun story coming after this.
Yeah, but you see, my parents would always go for, like, family emergencies, and every time they would go, I was always doing something. Like, I would have a job, or I remember this time particularly, I was in the last month of picking where to go to school, and I could not afford to leave, basically, right? Something like that. The thing is, like, so yes, I'm born and raised a Canadian, so obviously I've never been, but the thing is, my parents really, like, told me they really made it clear, don't lose your heritage, don't lose your roots, because even though I've never stepped foot, it doesn't mean through them or through other people that, you know, because they were like, no, we're not letting this guy lose track of who he is as a person. So I was raised basically as traditionally as you expect. It's just the fact that I was raised in Canada. For example, I remember as a kid, all my friends were celebrating Christmas, and me being a dumb, naive kid, I was like, why aren't we celebrating Christmas, Mom? That sounds cool. There's all the movies. There's Santa Claus. They get presents. And Mom's like, no, you're a Muslim. We celebrate Eid. We took 2 Eids. You get 2 presents. Anyway, I was over at that. But, like, so that's what eventually made me grateful, because, like, you know, in Western culture, there's a lot of ways that people are raised, but I realized the way my parents raised me, like, you know, they first of all they want me to have the best life, but also like they just want to carry on the traditional routes. Like, for example, what's culturally acceptable in like like Iraqi like ways. Like, for example, like the parents are supporting the kid no matter what. They're not always like, you're 18, get out of my house.
Yeah, this, by the way, any Western people that are watching, this mindset makes Arab parents laugh.
Really?
With 18, if you're 18, get thrown out the house.
I told
Arab
my
parents,
I told my parents I want to leave when I'm 18. They said you leave when you're married.
Oh my god.
No.
Oh my god. No.
it goes both ways because they will have like a stewardship and a level of not control, but they have a heavy say in your affairs up to a big age. But they'll also support you and hold you down up to a big age. So it goes, but I prefer it that way personally. You know?
Yeah.
Story time.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys actually remember this story, but it's engraved so deep in my head.
I'll probably do not remember this.
This was
When they were in Dubai?
yeah.
Oh,
God.
I
To
don't remember this.
to my beliefs, this was our first ever encounter with you guys.
No. We met them in Canada when we immigrated, when we became citizens.
When I was like 2 years old, bro. Like, I don't like when we were like what 9, 10.
Bro, I don't
they
remember
came-
shit when I was 3 years old. I just all I gotta
Yeah,
say.
exactly.
The first memorable encounter.
First
let's say.
memorable encounter.
Yeah.
So they came to Sharjah where we were living, and they were staying with us, and they were Zaid and Hussein had this argument, and I don't know. It
We were
resulted.
kids.
Yeah, we were like really young. It resulted in Hussein hitting Zaid. Zaid was a big kid. He was not little by any means.
Call me fat.
Zaid was a big kid. He was not little by any means. So Hussein hits Zaid, realizes that he just made a huge mistake, and it starts running away. Comes into my room, and I have another story about coming into my room and hiding under the table. But he comes into my room and hides under the table, and Zaid is just running after him. And then Hussein's dad just comes in and is like, "What's happening?" And then Zaid's like, "Your son hit me." So being like a dad, he was like, "Okay, my son hit you, hit him back."
That's why I rate your dad. Your dad is a G.
Oh my god.
Sin is like cowering in the corner, like under the table. It's like, no, please, like this, like in a ball. And Zaid grabs the table, like to stabilize his
Wait,
hand.
what the fuck did I
and
have?
just starts kicking relentlessly. You don't remember this?
I
He
have-
was
I don't.
Kicking
Okay, I-
Here's the
like
thing, I don't
5,
remember.
6
I don't.
kicks.
And you know the funny part? I don't even remember this. That's the funniest part.
I have
remember?
no,
No, I don't.
recollection.
That's
no
crazy.
recollection of this. What
That's
what's
crazy.
I'm racking
Bro,
my
I
brain.
remember this like it was 5 minutes ago. You
What the
start
fuck?
kicking him relentlessly, and he's crying. And the thing is with Zayd, when he was younger, he would hit me too. And when he hits you, he doesn't know where the line is. He just sees Reg goes, and he doesn't stop until
I
somebody
was a
stops
child.
him.
Go easy, bro.
You know?
Bro, and here's the thing.
And-
I don't remember it. Maybe you kicked me so
I
hard.
I
that-
have. But yeah, now you can talk about the end of the podcast.
So when we reach the end of every podcast, Hussein, we ask our, you know the drill at this point.
Oh, yeah.
We ask our guests to give a piece of advice to the listener. You choose whatever the advice would be.
Relating to the episode, relating to what you spoke
Or
about,
just
your
something that you want to preach in
experience.
general.
All right.
Steph goes for 46 points. Damn, that's
Damn,
crazy.
really?
Sorry, continue.
Okay. So now you're putting me in the spot, but I think I know what I'm gonna say. So from my obviously all of high school, I'm just gonna say just give context before I give the answer. For real, all of high school, I was really confused. Let's just say that because everyone else was doing really good in maths and sciences, and I was flunking maths and sciences, and then I was the weird film kid that everybody liked but no one really understood. No one really hung out and everything. I was kind of lonely and everything, and I just I went through a couple bad years of high school. And I was just so confused, why am I different? Why did all this happen? I just wish it was like everybody else. No, first of all, be different than everybody else because that's how you're you. That's how you're not easily contributed by yes man or the people your thoughts are originally yours if you're different and you're doing your own thing despite what others might not think. But most of all, I have to say one thing: no matter how hard things get, I'm not trying to say my life experience is so much harder than everybody else, but no matter how hard everything gets, it's gonna be okay in the end. And that's the funniest part. Every time every time you're in the middle of something, you think it's the end of the world. Anything. I remember in my elementary school, I was bullied over liking video games like Sonic the Hedgehog or Ratchet and Clank.
Shout out Sonic the Hedgehog.
Damn, childhood classic. I know. And I laugh now because like really those were my life problem back then. But in that time space, obviously that meant the world because that's your world at the time. It's gonna be okay if you try to find it's a solution. If you keep trying, and that's the important part. If you're not content with your reality, there's always gonna be a way, and you're always gonna come out of it and always become a better person. And the thing is, I wish I could say that there's a permanent way to think about this because every time you're in the middle of a situation, you're always think the same way. But there's a way out. So if anyone who's listening to this right now that are going through a complete phase of confusion or like what's my purpose in the world and everything, as long as you keep being you, and as long as you keep just trying, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna make sense, and you're gonna be proud of yourself.
And like Bilal said on the 4th episode when he came on, he said this one quote that's just resonated with me. Your record for figuring out is 100%. You've always figured it out. Whatever the problem may be in your life, you figure it out, right? So don't doubt yourself.
Take time. I would add to that. Take a couple, however long you need to figure out. If you're talking about finding your passion, finding your life's purpose, however long in terms of time that you need, take that time to figure it out. Sit, explore, have those exploratory experiences just so that you can be able to get to the place in the end where you can confidently be in what you're in, regardless of anybody else's opinion. If you see the vision, if you have a plan, if you have a goal, run for it and, take your time finding it and make sure that you don't lose on your potential.
Mm-hmm. And on those wise words,
before we think, I just want to commend you, Hussain. Your answers and your discussions with us today were really, really insightful.
Really?
You were so insightful.
I thought you were terrible.
I talk too fast. I know, guys.
No.
I'm joking, man.
I was so honestly, mashallah, you're my cousin and I know you obviously, but today I was so impressed.
Really?
With how
it's
amazing
crazy how
your
well you can
takes
get to know
are.
someone that you already know so well, huh?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I was so impressed with because I feel like we got to see your journey, but you didn't just gloss over it. You really gave us a picture and perspective.
And you went through deep waters.
Oh. That's and you can
t-shirt.
You can feel happy. You can feel happy that that's the first time anybody's ever said we've ever said anybody's ever went through deep waters.
You're the first person to go through deep waters on Through Deep Waters.
Oh, man.
And on that note, with that being said,
let's post for the thumbnail.
Let's post for the thumbnail. Hussain, bro, thank you so much for being here.
No problem.
It was a pleasure having you. However much fun you had, we had twice as much fun. I mean that sincerely.
Trust me, I had a lot of fun, talking to you guys, getting to know you guys as well, even bringing that damn story that I don't remember. I swear.
It happened. I swear it happened.
I don't know, but I had a lot of fun, and it was really honestly even cathartic for me to open up a lot of this stuff because I really because what I hope now is what I said could if anyone listen to this, just get impacted. I went from my experience, that's fine. But it's time to pass on to other people and let them hear people like me be like, it's okay. You want to be a filmmaker? You can do it.
Exactly.
We've been impacted, so I'm sure the listeners have also been.
Wise words. And everyone, thank you for tuning in and listening to Through Deep Waters, where we have dived through the deepest of waters with our cousin Hussain and my brother Zaid and myself. And we hope that you have a very good night and a good morning when you wake up tomorrow, and then have a good afternoon. I hope you have a good breakfast and you eat your lunch well and you have your vegetables and have your soup as well. Also stay hydrated and drink 8 cups of water every day, because if you don't hydrate yourself enough, then you're not going to be drinking enough water. And then by the way, if your pee is yellow, then that's not good. Your pee has to be clear, and that's how you know that you're hydrated.
What wall have you ran into? What wall did you run into?
Oh my God.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in.
We out. Take care.